What's going on, everybody? I was talking about the other day. I tried that one pipe that I had made. The one that was looked like the horn pipe or whatever. It was way too open for the saw for a 372 or a 590. They both kind of interchange, I believe, because the first pipe I made actually, well, I might have made the black plate for the 590. I'm not for certain, but what I'm saying is, it was just way too open. And I've set down the pipe that I was working on in this mess, and I've lost it. Here it is. So I'm calling this one the Y pipe. I'm trying to get some length and some disbursement uh, in it, kind of like a tune pipe is, but just putting it in a smaller package. You know, I'm hoping with these two, instead of having just a single short 3 or 4 inch outlet, and with me curving these up, that's added more length. Before, like on the Iron Horse style muffler that I made, and the uh, well, shoot, the straight horn pipe that I made. This part right here. I don't know how much y'all can see that, but this part right here comes out like 4.5 inches, and it's straight or kind of canted up. Like typically you would weld it like this, and that shoots you up to where when you get to 4 inches, you're over the dogs and all that, you know. And with this, I'm hoping I get a little more length and able to shorten it up. And then I'm curving up, so I actually flip this upside down to where it's canted down just ever so slightly. But then with these two pipes angling up like this, uh, I'm hoping that it, giving me length, because right here I'm right at 3.5 inches, which is only like a half inch short of what I think my Iron Horse style muffler was. It might have been 5 inches. I'm not for certain. I can't remember exactly. I'd have to go back on the video. But with this, if you roll the tape down in there, with the curve, I'm right at 4 inches, and I'm not really much bigger, just a little. I'm not terribly bigger than the factory one, and that's kind of what I'm going off of. I'm right at the same width or whatever, so it'll fit in the gap. Because I don't really have a saw to try this on, being I got rid of most of my Huskies, and I'm not unbolting the muffler off the giveaway saw because that's no longer my saw. So I'll have to get me another saw to try it on. Uh, but I want to get it made before I get too worked up. But I know that I'm in the parameters of the factory pipe. It's going to bolt on something like this. And that's where it'll be sitting at, because that's the back stop, see. And I'm going to be out far enough when I do this, so I'm going to get me a round tube of some sort. I don't know what size I want to go with yet. Set on there, and instead of coming straight out with them, I'm going to come out to the side, so maybe that heat, you got to get a tune pipe a little warm to get it to working right. And so I'm hoping this pipe will let the saw breathe enough and have enough pull, but it'll keep the heat in it as well. And there's a million ways to do pipes, you know, but there's only so many ways to do pipes. You're getting similar to quite other people's pipes, because there's so many of them being made now. It's hard not to be fairly close to somebody else's pipe and put your own twist on it. I haven't seen anyone do like a Y pipe. I'm calling it the Y pipe, but there may be. I ain't gonna say that there isn't. So uh, I've got it all welded up. My cuts are kind of rough. I'm no fabricator by no means, and I put all this together in like 10 or 15 minutes here. So I had to weld a pretty big gap in at the bottom, but as long as it don't leak air, I'm not that worried about it. The only thing is, I'd like to get me a pretty good sized canister. I'd like to use this pipe right here, but the only thing is, it's very thin, and I'm not, like I say, I'm not great at welding, but if I could do something like this, like right here, that'll throw that thing on out past the saw a fairly good ways, and have it raised up to where I can miss the thing. And I'd like to weld me some end caps and maybe come out the corner, 2 corners, and that will let that, I'm hoping let that the exhaust move around in there a little bit before it gets out, so it's not just directly out. So I don't know. We'll see how it fares out. I'm just playing around. I'd like to use a little thicker pipe. I have a little thicker pipe. It's not quite as big around, but the only thing I'm worried about is if I use it, it's going to make this pipe, I'm afraid, terribly heavy, like very heavy. And I got the bent pipe off an old shingle shovel that I had that we bought at a yard sale. I had like $10 in the, I think it gave like $10 for this old shingle shovel, and it had a curved handle, something like this, and I took it and cut it in half. What I done, and then used the 2 pieces, which they were a little long, so I knocked them on off. Like I say, this was my first one, and it fit rather good. I'm in the parameters of it as well. This was welded straight on. It looked like this, but except it was dead flush, like that. And I had these canted some, but you can tell, you look in there, I mean, you see dang near straight through it. And it made the saw just draggy as crap. Like it had no pull, it had no throttle response. It was finicky on the tune. So it was loud. It sounded really good, but so I just took it off, and it's when you do that like this, it's pretty much like running no exhaust at all. And if you've ever run a saw with no exhaust, which I have for a short period of time just to see if I could get it to run, you know that it is terrible to tune. It won't hardly tune, and it'll barely stay running, and that's kind of what I had going on there. But I'm hoping if I can, get that worked out here, find me a piece of pipe to go on there that suits me, then I may have a pretty decent little exhaust here. If a man had him a pipe bender, you talk about getting some good bends and stuff in them, you really could do some exhaust work. And if you had some good pipe, like I say, I'm not typically a metal worker. I can weld a little bit and get by and whatever, but I'm not heading out to West Coast choppers or nothing like that, But that's kind of what I've been got going on, and it's just one of them things. Exhausts do help saws. I think those bark boxes help the steels tremendously, even though they're nothing more than a plate that goes on there. But the way they got that thing channeled, it's similar to an iron horse exhaust in a way, except they've got more expansion in there. The exhaust is like 3.5 inches or so, however deep the exhaust is, 3.5 to 4 inches. It's real big open space. But as you come out on that bark box, it's got a hole the size of the exhaust port, and then it's channeled over 3 inches, just like your side pipe would be on an Iron Horse exhaust. So I think it's kind of similar. It's similar but different in a way, I guess. It's channeled like this one I started here was, and I debunked. It's channeled like that, but except you just got a can behind it. Like if that was in raw form, blueprint form, it would kind of be similar to that. If I can hold it straight, it'd be kind of similar to that because you got the hole right here and then it channels out. So I believe that's why the bark boxes work so well. I've never owned an Egan straight shot exhaust. I've seen some videos. I've not had no experience with it, but I've seen some videos on YouTube where the West Coast Saw exhaust beats it in the time, beats it in the cut, and then I've seen some where they say the Egan does. I don't know. I've never had one. I like the look of the West Coast bark box better, and to me, I don't think the straight shot, just in theory, I don't believe the straight shot, Egan straight shot, just in theory, would work as well as the West Coast Saw bark box does. Just because of the same theory as this. It's pretty much a straight shot, and it's you've heard saw builders and saw runners and loggers. I'm sure if you watch any kind of channels like mine, I'm sure you've heard more than one person say that mufflers like that straight on doesn't work very well. The number for this video will be 10. If you watch my videos, you'll know what I'm talking about pertaining to the 395 giveaway saw. The number's 10. So if you leave that in the comments, you'll be entered one time for a chance to win that 395 XP when I hit 3,000 subs. So again, it's 10. Put 10 in the comments and your name will be there. So anyway, the last couple videos you've seen will not have it because I had them scheduled before I decided all that. So but that's the start of it. Y'all tell me what you think. Man, I've been sneezing like crazy. I hope I ain't getting sick. Everybody around my part of the country has been sicker than a dog, I reckon. A lot of flu going around and everything like that. So I don't know how much you can see in that. Burnt my finger. I'm in bad shape. I don't know. That's how it's kind of swooped there. You got a divider in it. I'm hoping it's kind of working like a X pipe on a Mustang or something, or whatever. But that's what I'm gonna have, and I'm planning on putting like a tube or a canister or something up here. Something like this. It's gonna sit like that. I'm not gonna go forward. Cut me some holes in there, take that dude up, and then I don't know if I want to run the ports. How I want to run them. I think I'm gonna run them out the corners. So this has time to be in there. And I'm gonna play around with it. I may use this just to kind of see how it does. But I may run them out, like I say, more out the corners, because then you can't see the exhaust port at all. and we'll see. And then I'll do two pretty good size ones, two pretty good size exhaust ports, and it may work out, or it may be a turd. We'll see. Like I say, there's not a whole lot of different ways of doing pipes, and I may put this video out before I do the other one that I had scheduled to put out. I don't know. We'll see. So, but anyway, this is what I've got. Let me know what you think. Number's 10, and it won't be long. I'll have this thing done, and I will show it to you again, and then I will. I'm gonna have to give me some project saws. I've got rid of a lot of saws, and it's coming on winter, which is already about halfway winter. But it's going to get to where the weather's going to be crappy or raining or very, very cold. And if I ain't got no cutting to do, I like to come down here and tinker with saws. So I do have that 372 that a straight gas, the carcass vid I may use. But anyway, that's what we got going on. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Have a good one, and thank you. And still, it's still your daddy. And when it gets too tough for everybody else, it's just right for us.